We're going to miss you, Stephen. Hey, dude. Let's go.
I've got the keys. Catch.
Oh, thanks.
Too fast.
It's a really loud car.
Yeah. I don't know. No one's complained though.
Oh, man. Hello, and welcome to
Talk Heathen.
I'm
James.
Eric.
I'm Jamie.
This is Season 2, Episode 11, and today is March 25th, 2018. We have so much amazing news for you guys.
So much.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
Okay.
We don't get to talk about our weeks this week because our weeks were so awesome because we've got big news.
Yes. So let's start with...
There's a second convention tomorrow that we've... No, I'm joking. Okay.
Well, you know what? Let's actually start with some thank yous because the first thing that we really want to announce, first off, by the way, hello, live studio audience!
Woo!
Thank you so much for coming out. The show is filmed live out of
in front of a studio audience out of the Free Thought Library on 1507 West Koenig Lane in Austin, Texas. 787, oh shit, I forgot the zip code.
Come and see a live show. Okay, so first off, we really want to thank Aaron from the Waiting for Wrath podcast. The reason we want to thank him is because finally, Talk Heathen is a podcast. All seasons are out. All episodes are out right now. You can find it on iTunes. You can find it on Google Play. You can also find it on our website. So for everybody who's been waiting for the audio-only version, Vern has gone through, made the audio beautiful, super toned down the sound of that car so it doesn't blow people's ears out. And we are really, really excited. And because of that...
We heard your complaints as loud as you heard that car.
And we really, so specifically what I want to say about the Waiting for Wrath podcast
is that it's awesome.
And they are the beer-soaked, skeptical podcast you didn't know that you were waiting to laugh at. And not only that, the funds that go to the Waiting for Wrath podcast go to the Wyoming AIDS Assistance Program. It's right there up on the screen. If you want to know more, go to wyoaids.org. Waiting for Wrath, you guys are awesome. Thank you so much for helping us make this happen. We also obviously want to thank Vern, and Vern did all the editing for it. There's more Wyoming AIDS Assistance. It really is some cool stuff. And
Vern makes the sound good. I sing badly, and then Vern makes it sound good.
We also want to thank, we have
magician.
A couple volunteers who are working on getting the backlog
so many
for the comments.
Volunteers.
And the backlog for the comments are going to be the descriptions for the show. So when you go download the podcast right now, it's just a generic thing, but we will be fixing that and pushing that out.
With the help of our volunteers.
After that, we met our goal. Actually, no, before we go there.
Wait, what else do we have? Merch. Swag.
Hey, everybody.
Oh, hey.
Guess what we got?
It's Muhammad merch, which
we
you can buy
finally
at the AACon 18.
And we are super
it's a friggin'
excited.
Talk Heathen shirt.
Yes.
Our show, there it is on a shirt.
Decals, bumper stickers, mouse pads, buttons.
Shirts.
And we're so freaking excited. Oh my gosh, we got merch! Now we can.
It's like we're real.
Now we can
this
sell
is
out.
all real now. It is impossible for me to wake up from a dream. Because either this is real or I'm in a coma and I'm not coming back.
So next involves a little bit of champagne. Because
they can pay us for advertising.
Super excited. Jamie, do you want to talk about the convention, how we met our goal, and...
Yeah, so a few weeks back, I'm not sure if you heard about this because we said it like a million times, we opened a GoFundMe to send cast and crew for the Atheist Experience and Talk Heathen and ACA people as necessary to Con 18, as I understand it's called, or American Atheist National Convention 2018, the year not of our Lord. And we met our $5,000 fundraising goal early. We met it late. We met it. We shook hands. We heard its backstory.
We're so excited. You're sending us. We're going. And we've got some really great news for it.
And people kept giving after 5,000.
So I think that combines.
Well, here you've done more work more recently. What glass are you going to drink your champagne out of, sir?
The Talk Heathen mug.
Yes.
Because we're fancy bitches.
It doesn't count as you don't count as a shill if it's your own shit, right? That's how that works.
I don't know about that, but what we do want to announce.
I am a classy motherfucker, so I'm going to do it out of this plastic, sparkly.
We have noticed also.
Psych! I'm my own fanboy. That's how this goes. You thought you knew me.
We had a really, really huge spike in subscribers. We went from 6,000 to over 9,000 subscribers.
It's over 9,000!
Thank you so much. And we reached out and
you should
some really, really amazing people. One of them is,
Thank you. We've met so many amazing people. Okay.
Well, one of them's on the line, but
just
actually,
pause. Real talk. We have met so many amazing people. I literally do not know who you're about to say right now.
Before we do, you all said that I needed to do some risque photo shoot. If
we know a professional photographer.
If we met the goal quickly, and I was like, nope, and then the goal got met quickly. So I actually went and took a selfie, and it's a little embarrassing, but. You guys earned it. So if we can get it up, I'm really, really embarrassed about it, but you know, I'm happy to share it out.
And your modeling career has now also been exposed.
You know,
so not just your rippling abs and chiseled physique.
Thank you, Mark.
Can we Did you already sip before we did one of these? Prost.
Cheers. And cheers to you. Thank you for making this happen, everybody. I really want to get into calls.
Hopefully you got the memo and opened your own champagne at home so that I can say cheers to you, audience. If you're not watching this live, you can pause now and get champagne and have a drink with me. Nostrovia.
What he said. We have a really, really awesome person waiting on the line. And
We have many awesome people waiting on the line.
You know what? I don't think we actually need to...
You didn't ask me how my day was.
How was your day, Jamie?
You don't care.
No, I don't.
Okay.
Cecil from Cognitive Dissonance. You are on live with Eric and Jamie on Talk
You
Heathen.
are in the building.
How's it going?
Gentlemen, how you doing?
Doing good.
Marvelous.
Doing good.
Eric is
so
already
excited.
lost for words.
I'm so excited that you're calling
Such
in,
a
man.
fanboy. It's amazing.
Well, I opened up my own champagne too, and I'm drinking. I got my monocle.
Hey!
I'm hanging out with you guys.
This counts.
So,
this counts as us having a drink
Cheers.
together. Put it on my gravestone.
Blink.
So, we are going to get you up on stage, and we're going to get to talk to you at the American Atheist Convention. Is that about right?
That's true. It sounds like a lot of fun. Are you guys excited for that? I mean, it's going to be a huge venue
it's
for you
kind
guys.
of chill. And then,
I am shitting my pants. I am oh my gosh.
It smells really bad in here. That's what's going on right now. Not just soundproof, smell-proof. You're welcome, live audience.
You know what? In reality, little behind the scenes, he has burned me out with his flatulence on the show before.
What is this?
I
Everyone out there knew that the
stewed in
thing
it,
that I said was
and
false.
I felt I was one with his.
But they may not. But they may not know that thing is also definitely false, right? So there's that. I've never farted in my life.
I share a studio with Tom, and so there's literally nothing anyone can do to smell me out of my own studio.
Well, you're going to share a stage with us, so
he
challenge accepted.
Yeah.
Sorry, Cecil, I didn't mean to talk over you.
Yeah.
I only do that to Eric.
All the time.
Yep. That's a lie. I do that to many, many, many people.
Yeah. This is our dynamic, Cecil. This is our dynamic.
I can relate. Let me tell you, I can relate.
You know what, man?
You gotta mime that one.
I just did the chest bump, and I realized that I had a microphone, so our audio
And
engineer's
we
gonna kill
thanked Vern, and now
He's
after
gonna
the
kill
show,
us.
you must go through the ritual of I'm sorry, Vern.
me. Yeah, it's happening every episode. Cecil, for people who don't know, which would be ridiculous to me, because to me you're one of the biggest podcasts.
Hey Cecil, who's that guy?
I've
I don't know who that is.
You know, that I've
'Cause I don't know what
followed.
internet is.
I absolutely love what you do. Just as a quick, would you mind telling the audience about your show?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. My buddy Tom and I do a show called Cognitive Dissonance. We're based in Chicago. We've been doing it, I want to say, like 7 years now. It's an atheist politics news talk show, and it's a couple of friends. We just have fun. We chit chat, and we swear a lot, and we hang out, and it's a lot of fun. We normally enjoy ourselves quite a bit, and it turns out the audience sometimes likes it too.
Yeah.
You know,
Must have done something right.
I've compared your show to something like Car Talk for atheists. Just the
right. We hear that a lot, yeah, because we laugh at each other's jokes, and you know, it's really funny. Some people don't really like that at all. Like, we get a lot of negative feedback. The people are like, "Why do you laugh at each other's jokes?" And I'm like, "I don't know. Funny? I thought it was funny.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't." Well, people get upset about that. I don't know if you guys catch that, but we catch a lot of hell for that.
Well, actually, mostly people get upset at me for interrupting, or oh my God, earlier I went back to some of our earlier episodes and read the comments. It was so fascinating. They're the kind of comments that you, Eric, would avoid. I got accused of arguing with my vagina because I wasn't mean enough. So
nice.
Yeah, I didn't even know I had one. That's fascinating.
Before you guys even started, I saw like on YouTube you had already had like several down thumbs. Like, you guys didn't even turn your mics up. People are down thumbs. Why is that? What the fuck is wrong with people?
Really? For this episode?
Haters gonna hate.
Oh, look at that. 3 down thumbs. You're right.
Ooh, how many up thumbs do we have?
We have 31.
Same number of senators in the Texas Senate.
I'm gonna go on an up thumb it right after.
Yeah. Thumb us right up.
Jesus.
Well, we up thumb you, man. Thank you so much. This is, we're so excited.
We're looking forward to up thumbing you on stage.
Hey now.
Hey.
No, off stage. Got it. That's right.
Yeah.
This got weird real fast. I don't know you well enough to make these jokes.
Cecil's never going to go, and then I'm going to blame you forever.
Yeah. It's all good, man.
He can't leave now.
Just wear protection. You know, if you're going to fist me, you just got to wear protection.
You know,
I said thumb. You upped that ante real fast.
He does have some experience at the glory hole for those people who follow the show.
I just thought you were going to keep the thumb out when you fisted. I didn't realize you were going to keep the thumb. Oh, yeah. You don't even need to have lube then. That's no worries, man. We're good.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I'm now a quasi-professional dishwasher because that's part of what I do at my job, so I can get one of those long yellow gloves.
And he also
This is a very different tone than our usual show. Usually the sex talk is slightly more sly, and it's me and then Eric feeling awkward in conjunction with the audience.
Yep.
Because I make some reference to like, oh, dicks. Actually, you've placed something quasi-phallic in front of me. Are you... I promise I won't do anything with it if you let me pour myself drinks throughout the show. Sorry, Cecil, I don't know if you can see as well. But
there's a delay as well. Cecil,
there's a delay.
Thank you so much for calling in, man.
Why are you trying to get rid of him so fast?
Well, we've got a whole bunch of really amazing callers that are also waiting.
That's true. Plus, we can talk to Cecil outside of the show in between now and the conference, right?
Absolutely. And when we get to the conference, finally, we'll have a beer. I can't wait to meet you guys in person at the AACon next week. It's going to be a lot of fun. Looking forward to it.
We can't wait to meet you too, man.
Looking forward to it.
Take care, brother.
See you.
All right. Take care, guys.
Bye.
Oh my God, we talked to Cecil.
Yes. Hopefully he got that last part was joking and that I'm not like glomming onto him all over the place. It's weird for me because
I really thought you were.
I don't fan person the way that you do, and I feel like it's like more awkward than meeting like a random person. It's like
I want to look back at this and see if I'm tittering.
It's like meeting someone's significant other that I've only heard of.
Okay,
this is the kind of random bullshit that people hate. Let's move on to callers.
No, actually, 2 more things. Number 1, Cecil's not the only person who's going to be on stage with us.
Who else is going to be on stage with us?
Why, No Illusions from the Scathing Atheist is going to be live on stage with us.
Scathing Atheist and God-Awful Movies and Citation Needed and Skeptocrat and Life.
Oh, who's fangirling now? No,
I know you are, but what am I?
We're also really excited that you're going to be coming on with us. For everybody else, make sure you're watching next week. It's going to be a really special episode. Can I braid your hair? I also want to thank, obviously, the picture of me was real. And I want to thank Mr. Atheist for helping make that happen.
For making sure the lighting was correct.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. He even found a way of making your neck disappear. It's fantastic.
Well, I got the big. Yeah. We also want to say, Phil.
he reverse flexes for the show.
Phil, who is the artist who sends in all of the really great animations.
Yes.
He had his birthday this week, and we want to say happy birthday, Phil.
Happy birthday.
And
you have flown more laps around the sun than either of us. Wait, I started the sentence without an end. Happy anniversary of birthday. Wow, I made it worse.
You did. We're gonna.
I blame you for not.
That's for not saving you?
No,
so
it's my fault.
Who do you want to take first?
Let's
People
see.
hate this part too.
Yeah, it's
we
real
just gotta
bad.
pick
Let's
quickly.
do number 2.
Number 2.
All the poop.
We have Michael in Poland. Michael, you are live with Eric and Jamie. How are you doing?
How are you guys? I have to say na zdrowie. I'm going with cherry vodka and Coke today.
Cheers.
Wait, okay, I hate to be that guy that's like, oh, you're from another culture, tell us a thing. What is a traditional cheers, or how do you personally say cheers?
Cheers, na zdrowie. You actually said it when you were drinking that.
Okay. I thought that was Russian.
No, whiskey
or is it
champagne. It's similar. I mean, it's the same family of languages. So
Slavic?
there you go.
I know a thing. Okay. Ooh, what did you want to talk about today, Michael?
So first of all, I would like to thank the Atheist Experience and Matt Dillahunty, because when I was doubting my faith in my early 20s, he really saved my psyche in some degree, with all the guilt that came with rejecting God and eternal sin and all that. And I was like, happy to find people that kind of put me straight in a way, So thanks to that, I know you guys know him, so please tell him thank you from me.
We will.
I actually thought I was going to connect with the Atheist Experience, but I see you guys are somehow affiliated with them, so cheers to you guys too.
Coattails, something.
We're another call-in show.
Similar format. There's a Polish version of the Atheist Experience, by the way.
Okay.
There is no Polish version of the Atheist Experience. Polish people are 95% Catholic. I don't know how many actually believe, but I mean, it's a whole different ball game in this country, which I don't really want to get into if you don't mind.
No, that's fine.
So there actually is a show, you should check it out. It's called The Atheist Show, and it is in Poland. They reached out to us
And
too
in
for
Polish.
advice on how to get the show started, so definitely check it out.
I have no idea how good it is because I don't speak Polish.
Yep, I have no idea. But you can report
I
back.
don't know how legal it is, because in Poland there's a law that you can't actually say anything that offends religious feelings. There was a pop star that back a few years back, she said that the Bible was written by some bunch of old high drunks, and she got fined somewhere around $1,000 for that because she offended some religious feelings. I never knew you can get punished for offending feelings, but apparently in our law, that's the case. Maybe that has changed since then. I'm no lawyer, but I doubt it.
So what did you want to talk to us about today?
Okay, guys, 2 caveats I might have for you.
Okay.
One is the proving a negative. In short, we often talk about it that you can't actually prove a negative.
Right.
And I recently came upon this example as I was talking to my Muslim flatmate and trying to, kind of explain to him how you cannot prove a negative. I went on to example just, on the example of DNA. And I was like, you can't really prove you're not from, say, Norway in some degree. And then he said, well, yeah, DNA can prove it. And then, I was a little bit dumbfounded in a way, but I said, well, yeah, but DNA now is, when you get some DNA tests, they say like 90% sure that you are 30% from this country, 40% from this country, or whatever the statistics might be. And but it's not hard to imagine that within 10 years, the DNA science will be advanced enough. We will be able to discern that with 100% certainty, right? So here's 10, 15, 20 years.
99%. Sorry, not to be the science, blah, 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 never 100.
That? I mean, if we would decode the DNA structure sufficiently, why do you think we cannot decode it to 100% level? I'm sure. I don't think that's a miracle.
No. I agree. It's just, the nature of scientific conclusions is that they're all weighted on the evidence. So it would be like 99.9 bar. Like evolution, we're there. We can say practically it's 100 because 99.9 bar rounds to 100. Sorry, it was a comment about the nature of science, not about the nature of DNA sequencing. So it was a dumb thing to
I don't know
bring
if
up.
you're saying that we will never be able to 100% DNA sequence, or you are saying that we will be able to at one point 100%. 100, not 99.9. I'm saying I think that why leave the 1%? Somebody will figure it out.
Yeah.
The last percent. Right?
Well, because I honestly think that so long as we're tentative about things, we leave ourselves open to learn new things. I mean, we're constantly, discovering things. And if it turns out that we were wrong, we need to be willing to do that. And by saying something's 100%, I would be worried that I personally would have created this system around myself where I'm like, no, that's not possible, and I would shut myself to evidence.
It's not a statement about...
Let me give you this example.
Sure.
Say you go to the doctor today and you have your blood tested and he tells you you're O negative or whatever, RH something, yeah? What do you think? Like I'm 99% O negative or what? No, you're 100%. You know it because the doctor told you. He did some tests, and the tests say you got 100% this blood. And this will be the fact of DNA. They'll just take your DNA and they'll be able, with 100% certainty, tell you you're this or that or whatnot. Is my opinion, and I think if you're saying that that's not the case, we can discuss that at some point as well.
To be clear, the point I was making was more esoteric and minor, and the point I was making was like
I can. The point then, right?
Yeah.
It's a semantic.
Assuming that we do get to the scientific era that we'll be able to decode DNA to 100%, you will be able to prove a negative. So me saying that to my Muslim friend, prove that you're not from Norway, all he has to do is give his DNA, and he's like, there you go, here's your proof. I'm not from Norway, proved. I'm sure I'm making some error there. I'm some kind of fallacy, and I'm not sure what. So that's why I wanted to throw it out to you guys, as you got a bunch of intelligent people there. I'm sure much more intelligent than me, and I think it's a good talking point for figuring that one out.
What do you think, Jamie?
Do you want me to take it first?
Yeah, go ahead.
So there's a couple ways that I would approach this as a question. So before we go into the specific example, you keep saying testing DNA to determine that he's from Norway. Presumably you mean like of whatever you would define as from Nordic descent, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's Muslim, so he's probably like, some percent, whatever, Egypt, some percent, some Iraq, I don't know, Azerbaijan a little bit, because he's from the Middle East. And we can assume that he doesn't have Norwegian blood in him, but we don't know that for sure. Yeah. So we cannot prove that negative to him. Yeah. But if we had that evidence, he could say, look, proven right there. A negative is proven. I'm not Norwegian.
So the only thing I was going to say is apparently I'm Mr. Semantics today. Assuming a solid definition of what it is to be genetically Norwegian, and assuming sufficient genetic science, then yes, you could demonstrate that a person, if you could entirely determine a person's genealogical descent within a set of definitions, you could entirely determine that whatever was defined as Norwegian wasn't in there.
Yeah.
The real question is, in that statement is, what do you mean by negative?
Like, interesting.
So, yeah.
Well, I was thinking, maybe that's where the fallacy comes in, because I meant it in the sense, that you can't prove that there's a spaghetti monster in the sky, or a pink elephant in the forest, or whatever, or God in that sense.
Yeah.
So I'm still not actually understanding where the mistake is in my trail of thought.
So it boils down to a couple separate points, and I'm going to kind of list them out in order of importance for me. The first is the semantic point, and I'm going to share just a quick little aside. I had an argument with a good friend of mine, and I was telling him about the infinite monkey thought experiment. Have you heard that, the infinite monkey thought experiment?
Maybe I heard of it, but I can't think of it now.
So there are different versions of it, but in this thought experiment, you imagine a room with an infinite number of monkeys, with an infinite number of typewriters, and an infinite number of time. Eventually, because you have an infinite amount of time, those monkeys will type out the entire collected works of Shakespeare and every other written thing that humanity has or ever will write. And that's just because that's the nature of infinite, right? Eventually, all the variables get worked out. And it's a really fun kind of way to think. And my friend was like, no, that's not true. And I said, how is that not? And eventually, after many hours of discussion, we finally got to the point where he goes, look, even if the odds are 99.9 bar, right, they're just going on 99999% that it's going to happen, that doesn't mean that there's not a non-zero chance, right? There is some chance, no matter how small, that it won't. And ever since then, I think of that as getting stuck on the monkeys, right? Getting hung up on the monkeys. And so I think right now, Jamie and I are hung up on the monkeys of it, that we just want to, we want to clarify that one semantic piece, but that's not the bigger piece that I think you want to talk about. And so as long as we're done, talking about the semantic issue.
Of the semantic issue of 99.9 bar not being 100, because actually technically, mathematically, those are the same.
Yeah, and I mean, when it's functionally 100, right? Because it is, functionally you treat it as 100. You treat that as a fact. And we need to live that way in a whole bunch of different things about our lives. We don't know for a fact that the sun will rise in the morning, but we have such a high degree of certainty that we depend on it.
99.9 bar.
But I still don't see the connection with
we
him
treat it as
proving that he's not Norwegian by,
right. Yeah, I'm circling around.
He's getting to it.
So in the same way that we need to make that judgment, we do say this is a true thing. It's much easier to say it for mathematics because mathematics can be done in a vacuum. And you can get those kinds of arguments. It really depends on the kind of argument that you're making. If you're making an inductive argument, I think X, you by definition can't get to the deductive, this is 100% certain true or false, right? So if they say, I believe in God, it's a matter of degrees. But if you're talking about the DNA sequencing, you can get to, this is the theoretical I'm giving you that we fully map the human genome and know everything about it. You can get to that point. And at that point, you can make a deductive argument about it, and you can say with certainty, this is X, Y, and Z, but that's a different kind of argument than the God argument. Yeah. And because of that, we have to separate those because if we're not getting caught on the monkeys.
What's the difference again? What's the difference? So between inductive and, I'm not too familiar with these terms you're using.
Sure.
So if you could, I'll Google it later and stuff.
No. If you're confused, that means the audience is confused, and that means that it has to be explained. So that's okay.
That's our job.
Yeah. Deductive arguments, I'll start with. Deductive arguments are something like 2 plus 2 equals 4, right?
Or
you can say, if this, then that, this, therefore that.
Yeah.
Right? And it is 100% true. As long as all of those different premises are true, then the conclusion is true, right? And that is a deductive argument.
That's sound.
As long as each of those premises that you're giving are true, right? And then you test it, and if it's true, then it goes. But in our lives, we have deductive, or not deductive, we have inductive a whole lot of the time. Inductive logic is based on our personal experience and how much we know about a thing, right? And because
inductive is okay, yeah, I'm following.
And so let's say you look at a study that says 95% of people over this age are going to get cancer if they live this kind of lifestyle. You can say, if I get over this age and I live this kind of lifestyle, I'm going to get cancer, because the stats, as long as you vet them, because the stats are so high, you can make a decision that way, but you're never going to know with 100% certainty, right? There's so much baggage with a God that I can't see it moving into deductive unless you start to abstract it out.
Yeah, the thing is, I didn't really want to go into that much into God, because obviously there's a lot they have missing there. But but just the whole proving a negative without maybe getting into the religious aspect of it, just the philosophical proving a negative. This example of mine troubles me.
Well, I mean, if you're willing to ignore hard solipsism, if you're willing to have a given that you can know something for sure, then I'm with you. But because I need to carefully make that argument, and I need to carefully make sure that we're on the same place, I'm not willing to say that until we both understand those hang-ups that Jamie and I had. We were getting caught on the monkeys, right? We want to make sure that we're together before we continue.
And I think from what I'm understanding is that we're due for a call within the next 10, 15 years.
I'm down.
We're due for a call.
For him to call back in 10, 15
and I don't
years?
think, now they're like at 90-something% sure, right? I mean, I don't think it'll take too long for them to figure the rest of it out. Hopefully, right? I mean, that's some good stuff there.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think the problem that you may be running into is what you're defining as a negative. So, for example, something that I think is analogous, because what you're saying is, with a perfect test of DNA, you can't prove that you're not from Norway. But the problem is that with a perfect test of DNA, he can prove that he is, for example, from Russia or Egypt or Iran, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what definition you're using for negative, but it is possible mathematically at the moment to prove that 1 + 1 does not equal 17 by proving that 1 + 1 = 2.
Oh, perfect. That's even the simpler version of what I'm saying.
So that's the law of non-contradiction. In logic, you have identity, non-contradiction, and the excluded middle, right? And so in the tenets of philosophy, you have right there in the middle non-contradiction, right? A cannot equal not A, right? So yeah, in that way, you can make that decision, especially if you're dealing with deductive arguments. Like I said, if we're saying something is a deductive argument, you can make a true claim and have that true all the way across.
Well, in that case, I see this will become quite a topic for the religious when they call in from now on.
Why?
Well, they'll be like, well, yeah, 1 + 1 does not equal 3, not proven a negative, that talk they'll use.
You could prove that there wasn't a God, but you can't, therefore there's a good reason to, because you can prove a negative. Is that what you're constructing apologetics?
Yeah, they'll say like, yeah, I can. That they'll say that you can indeed prove a negative, and because you can't prove that God doesn't exist, therefore he does.
So.
Well, no.
Go.
I mean, did you want us to tackle this apologetic right now, or were you?
You don't have to tackle it now. I just want to throw it out there. You guys can have a day or two to think about it. Maybe come back to it one day on a.
Well,
podcast.
Did you want to play Jesus is advocate?
Oh, we actually have some really great callers. I'd rather move.
Yeah,
Are we all doing that in a way sometimes?
Are you on any of the social media that we do to keep up with this conversation? Are you on Reddit, for example?
I'm on YouTube and on Facebook. I mean, I'll keep up with you guys. Don't worry about that.
Definitely.
Okay.
I mean, I just do it as a hobby, but not passionately, because at some point you're like, this religion.
Yeah,
sure. I mean, anytime you want to talk about it, that's my jams. I absolutely.
But I've got another caveat for you guys.
Yeah.
And this is not a question anymore. It's just a little analogy I came up with because I'm a little bit of a magician. I dabble in magic. By saying that, I mean the card type, not the dark type. Anyhow,
the kind that works and is real. No.
Yeah, I mean the trickery kind, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so I came up with this idea that religious people, when I'm talking to them about religion, it's kind of like me showing a magic trick to some, I don't know, children or just some people. And I shuffle the cards, and then I tell them to pick a card, and then, I do some sleight of hand, and I make the card disappear. And it's no more in the deck. It's probably in my pocket, or I hand it over to my friend, or some kind of shenanigans like that.
Yeah.
But they obviously didn't see the trick, so they say like, "Wow, that's an amazing thing. That's a disappearing card. That's a disappearing card."
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, "Yeah, guys, that was a great trick, right?" They're like, "Whoa, that's amazing. That's amazing." So I'm like, "Well, guys, let me show you how I did it." Mm-hmm. And at this point, the conversation becomes rather uncomfortable because they say, "Dude, I don't want you to tell me how you did that. I don't want to hear it. It's a fucking disappearing card." I'm like, whoa, guys, I'll show you how I did it. No, we don't want to hear how you did it. We don't want to hear how you did it. I'm like, guys, this guy has the card. Show them the card. No, don't show us the card. It's a disappearing card. That's that. And if you say otherwise, we'll fuck you up. And this is how I sometimes, and I don't mean they'll beat me up physically, but they really get upset and stuff. Because most of these miracles and stuff, you can basically explain them by just pure logic. And come on, man, really, all these things. So that's just kind of an analogy that I came up with that I thought was pretty humorous.
All right.
I thought you might enjoy.
That's pretty good. Yeah. I know you're a fan of Atheist Experience as well. Yes.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Well, I mean, sorry. Yeah. The beginning, and we have remembered that we're going to thank Matt for you on your behalf. You've presumably seen some of the episodes where Matt tells the story where he's like doing card tricks, and someone is like, "Wow, you've got Satan's powers" or whatever, and it was while he was a Christian.
Oh, well, I'm afraid I'm not that much of a fan. I've watched like a bunch of episodes, but there's so many more.
Oh, okay. Well, then let me tell his story for him. No. Well, anyway, I think we're gonna move on to to other.
So, I mean,
thanks, guys.
Absolutely. Thank you for calling in.
And I hope you guys will talk about this proving negative again, because I'll be checking in every once in a while.
I'm crafting a blog post in the back of my mind as we speak.
Absolutely, man. Yeah. Definitely. You take care, and definitely reach out to us. We're going to plug all of our social media stuff in just a second. So,
cheers, guys.
Take care.
Have a good one.
Cheers.
You too.
Go without God.
So, if you do want to get in touch with us, you can call during our show, 1-512-686-0279. You can find us on Facebook, Talk Heathen. You can find us on youtube.com/Talk Heathen. You can find us on Reddit/r/Talk Heathen. You can find Jamie on Instagram at
Jamie the Heathen. You can find Eric on Instagram at Eric the Heathen, and you can contact me on Twitter or tweet mean things at me, bring it on, at reason_evidence. Is my Twitter handle.
Definitely reach out. You can also mail us, mail@talkheathen.com. At the bottom, you can see the email. Dang, that was good. So, it really is an interesting conversation about whether or not you can prove a negative. I think about it, and, there are some things where you can, but on the things that we really argue so much about, I don't know. It's a place where I sit and I have to say I don't know, and it's an uncomfortable place to be, but it's the most honest place. And when the evidence comes in, we can take a look. But then you have to think about relevance, and relevance is a really important thing. Because for me, where you came from doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
It really doesn't.
Well, that's just the example.
Yeah.
But yeah. They know what you mean.
It did. Okay, so if they know, then that's fine.
I'm Mr. Semantics. Although technically, I'm not Mr. Semantic, because that's.
We're going to move in. We're going to talk to Jose in Raleigh, North Carolina. Jose, you're on live with Eric and Jamie. How's it going?
Wow, I didn't. Hey, how's it going? I didn't actually think that I'd get answered. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Glad you called in, brother.
Oh, ye of little faith.
Ouch. Oh, that hurts so bad.
Oh, that hurt Eric. So what did you want to talk to us about today, Jose?
Well, you see, my family, they're Jehovah's Witness, and
J-Dub.
Sorry.
J-Dub.
J-Dub, sorry. It's silly.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Weird. being goofy?
Well, ever since I was little, I kind of always questioned religion in a way.
Good for
And
you.
I think it was around when I was like 10, I asked my aunt a few questions and she couldn't answer them. And from there on, I just kind of went on just going, well, I mean, if they, what's the harm in there not being a God and me still being a good person, So I just went on not believing. And it took a while for me to tell my family.
Yeah.
Mostly because like every time they wanted to go to church, they would just like invite me, and I'd be like, I don't know how I feel about that. But
to be clear,
at some point I had to tell them that these are not my beliefs, and I respect your beliefs, but these aren't my beliefs. And ever since then, I was just kind of excommunicated from like half of my family. And I was just wondering if there was a way I can somehow reestablish some sort of connection. I mean, just last year, Hurricane Maria kind of destroyed Puerto Rico, and my family lives out there. I offered them money to help rebuild their house. I offered them a bunch of stuff, but they just didn't want to hear me out just because of my beliefs. Yeah. I have a cousin who came out to the family as gay, and they kind of just excommunicated him. Now I don't even know about him because my family won't give me any information about him, even though they know where he is. They know, just because he's gay, they don't want to have anything to do with him. So they kind of just completely wiped him out from any communication with the family. And I was just curious if there's any sort of way that any insight you guys might have into reestablishing communication or, understanding between two different beliefs like that and still being okay,
Yeah, I do.
Do you want to?
I'm going to take the whole thing if I take it. You go ahead.
Well, my short bit is, I've realized how fortunate I've been in this respect because actually recently other members of my family have now, they listen to it in podcast form. An episode of Talk Heathen, and I actually had I don't think I told you that I had an in-depth conversation where I got called out for being too mean to a caller.
I'm really happy to hear that happened. I'm really happy to hear that your family...
It wasn't mean. Oh my God. No. Yeah, I don't know. This is a real heavy call, so I feel bad even smiling about anything. But sorry, to make a long ramble into a short, relevant statement, it's about appealing to their humanity as opposed to their religiosity. So instead of focusing on the beliefs, the only piece of advice that I would give, and take it with a grain of salt, because I didn't have to overcome the obstacles that you have to overcome in this regard, would be saying, look, you know me as a person, you were there when I was wearing diapers, and I don't know what it is with me and my family being able to say no, you were there and helped me learn how to walk. What about me is entirely different that you can't see that in me now, because I still see you the way I see you.
And
but Eric probably has more.
Yeah, Jose. So
yes.
First off, brother, I can talk to you as a friend. I can talk to you as a fellow atheist who's in the community and cares about you as someone else in the community. I'm not a therapist. And I regularly go to therapy, and I highly suggest anybody watching goes to therapy, even if there's not a thing, because it's a great way to just continue to develop. And so if you haven't, I suggest you do. And I don't mean that. Some people take it in a really bad way, and it's actually really not. It's self-care. But there are a couple things that I've learned. And I'd be happy to share them with you if you're interested.
Yeah, sure.
So the first is, and it's hard, but you can't control them. And they need to own their actions. And it hurts.
Mm-hmm.
And, there may be people in your life that you may not be able to reconnect, and there's nothing that you're going to be able to do that can reconnect that. Live your best life. Be happy and be good without God. And in some circumstances, I've absolutely seen families turn around and be like, oh, hey, he's still a good guy. He's not eating babies. Hey, do you want to come over for Thanksgiving? But I guess the question is, do you have any kids, Jose?
No, I'm 22, and
sure. Jose, are you planning on having kids?
At some point.
What kind of dad are you going to be, Jose? Are you going to be the kind of person who would...
an understanding father.
What about an uncle? As an uncle, well, how would you be to your nieces and nephews?
Well, I'd try to, give the best advice, and by best advice, I mean, like, I won't try to sugarcoat things. I won't try to, my best thing is, like, not to lie to the child in order to, save him the how do I say it? Basically, like, just not lie to them, just so in the future they find out I lied, and then I become an uncredible source,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I become some sort of, like, person that they can't trust with certain things because of, in the past I have lied. I wouldn't want to be that kind of person.
Agreed. I think that's wonderful. If any time that I'm feeling down, I write it down, and what I decide to do is the same thing that I'm asking you to do, and that is, if you've got the time, what kind of man do you want to be? What kind of human do you want to be? What kind of brother? What kind of son? What kind of husband do you want to be? If you want to get married, what kind of neighbor, and what do you want to do with it? Because we can't always control those people in our lives who are going to make those decisions, and they have to own it. But what we can do...
I just feel it's kind of unfair.
It is.
Because when I was little... Not towards my family, more towards the kids that I kind of grew up with in the congregation. There's a lot of the kids that I grew up with, I still have pictures of them, and I tried finding them on Facebook. But apparently my family informed all the other members of the congregation that I was no longer part of them. So I tried to regain communication with, childhood friends, mostly because when I was in Puerto Rico, when I was a little kid, the only friends I was allowed to have were Jehovah's Witness. My aunt, she told me, they're not your real friends if they're not Jehovah's Witness. So she wouldn't allow me to hang out with friends who didn't share the same belief. And I find it's kind of unfair that these children were indoctrinated into a religion, and basically their whole entire lives they were told, no, you can't talk to these people, you can't you can't befriend these people because they do not share your same beliefs. And it's just, I tried talking to a few of them, and they just ended up either not talking to me or trying to get me back into the religion. And I'm kind of, set in stone when I say I don't believe,
Don't ever look back. That's okay. And you have every right to be good without God. You can't always change the people. You can't always change the people who are
around you and what they're going to do.
You can't always change their reactions. But what you can do is empower yourself. And I urge you to. Take every example of something that's shitty that those people are doing, and don't do it. Be the man, be the person that you want to see in the world. Make that change. And when you make that change, be an example for other people to follow. And in that way, you can make sure that you, in your part, can help make the world a place where that kind of thing doesn't happen to other people. And be proud of that. Be proud of what you're doing. It isn't always something that works out, but we're working to make a community, and
as
you're
hard
part
as
of
we
that.
can. Yeah.
And
Keep in touch.
I hope you do. I hope you keep in touch. I hope you reach out, because you know what, man? I don't care what other people have to say. I like you, Jamie likes you, and we definitely want to talk to you, because you know what? You are a cool guy, and you are good without God.
Yeah.
So don't doubt it, brother. And I'm sorry that you're going through such a hard situation. It's painful to see how, people say, what's the harm in religion? And you see these...
It's right here. That's I was waiting, because right now the only parts of my brain that are formulating lengthier, more connected ideas are, this is why religion, people need to recognize that it's a fucking dangerous thing. In particular, because I had a very, 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 very recently, I had a very enlightening conversation as far as how a person who is very close to me, how many times can I say very in one rant before people notice it? A person who is very, very close to me that I've known my entire life, who said some very, very concerning things that I found very, very surprising. But before I get into all of those particular varies, I want to say, one, you're calling from North Carolina now. I don't know whether you live with your family, whether you're just there for school, whether you just graduated, whether you live from work.
I don't live with my family. I was basically, like, as soon as I was 18, they told me I had to, leave or basically conform. So I chose to stick to...
Was that after they knew that you didn't believe?
Yeah, basically, my mother, she knew I didn't believe, and she was kind of, she was very stubborn about it. And it's like, it's not about you. It's like how I've understood, the reality of what, my life, my experience has led me to this conclusion. Your life might have left you with a totally different perspective, Yeah. But, can't we try to respect each other for the meantime? And she tried, and as soon as I was 18, she just told me, she couldn't live under the same roof with someone who differed in beliefs, so I kind of had to leave.
Well, we're happy you're calling in.
Have you been able to be in touch with your family at all since then?
Just my mother. That's the only one. She would never let me live in her house ever again, and I know that for a fact. She's told me multiple times, but she's the only one who would actually talk to me.
Jose, thank you for calling. Thank you for sharing your story, and
keep in touch, because
be strong, brother. You know how to get in touch with us, right?
Yeah.
We pimp ourselves all the time.
Oh yeah,
right?
Definitely. I've been watching you guys for a while. Definitely, enjoy the insight. Every time I watch you guys, it seems to validate my beliefs, or it kind of just I would say,
well, we're glad we can.
It only makes my opinion that much more. I'm kind of at a loss for words.
That's okay.
Yeah. No,
that's okay.
I think we've got the gist of where you're going. Yeah. It's hard to find the words. It's very hard to find the words. That's why there's not a million of these shows.
Yeah.
But I really appreciate everything that you guys do.
Thank you. We appreciate you, brother. Keep in touch.
And we do this.
We do want to check in on you. Yeah. We do want to hear how things are going in your life. So you better call back if anything.
Brother way. But quick before you get off, I do have something more substantial to say. I know usually when I interrupt, it's like, hey, look, a pineapple.
Go.
But, I would say, because you sound like a person who, above average amongst our callers could benefit from being able to get in contact with other local non-believers and nuns and whatever. N-O-N-E, obviously. I don't know any N-U-N nuns. Those are all vicious rumors that are lies and slander. But that doesn't read as comedy, damn it. Anyway, because presumably if you're going to be in North Carolina, presumably there's other non-believers in North Carolina that can also reach out to us and you can get in touch with them. I don't know what your situation is locally as far as friend groups, support groups, etc.
Yeah, definitely, if you haven't called the Recovering from Religion Foundation, call the Recovering from Religion Foundation. They're fucking amazing.
And if you're wondering how to be a heathen now that you don't have the kind of religion that doesn't afford you a birthday, even, there's a, do we want to say the How to Heretic podcast? They're pretty good.
Oh, they're amazing. We can plug whoever the hell we want.
Yeah. You can't tell me not to say a thing. You've tried before and it fails, Eric. God.
If you
the How to Heretic podcast. I don't know if you listen to podcasts. There's one called Talk Heathen. It's great, but there's also one called the How to Heretic podcast. It's I think 2 ex-Mormons.
Yes.
And they talk about stuff.
They're
they
amazing.
talk about how when they became ex-Mormons, they didn't know how to alcohol, and that can be really friggin' dangerous really fast.
And I'm just putting this out there. It's 1-844, I doubt it. That's 1-844-368-2848.
And
it's not just you, Jose. It's for anybody else who's listening who doesn't have a community, who wants to be able to find somebody nearby or just wants somebody to talk to, somebody to listen. It is a wonderful resource for tons and tons of that. The Secular Therapy Project works through that. And we definitely would absolutely support everything that they go through. So if you haven't checked it out, please check it out. It's the recoveringfromreligion.org, Recovering from Religion Foundation, 1-844-368-2848. Jose, thank you for calling in, man. We really appreciate it. We're happy to talk.
Yeah, thank you.
And
I really
keep in
appreciate
touch.
everything.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You take care.
Will do.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you.
Godless
good fortune to you. Oh, you already hung up.
We actually, I've actually read stories about Mormon families, especially in FLDS. When a boy hits 18, they give him bus fare to LA with pamphlets for where the homeless shelters are. Happy 18th.
Yep, that's why it's something like.
It's wild. We're actually getting comments right now in the live YouTube comments of people saying, I
think there's like a whole.
Yeah, I have family who are J-dubs and they don't know my children. It happens, and we're happy when we see people whose families accept them, but that's not always the case. And when that's not the case, we got to remember and we got to see that there really is danger. There really is something wrong with a system that's going to tell you you're broken and sell you a crutch.
Yeah. Actually, this is the perfect time for me to make the point that I was going to make. Recently, I had a conversation, a very, very, very surprising conversation with a person who's there's an extra very for each very set now. Watch out. 1.5 times the varies of before. A very, very, very surprising conversation with a person who's very, very, very close to me, where they said, amongst other things, because they are Christian, no, because Jesus wasn't pro-family. He broke up families. And in their words, and sometimes that's necessary because this. And at the time, very, very, very recently, I didn't really have the heart to challenge them, in part because I wasn't on camera, and it was just a conversation between me and a person who is admittedly very, very, very close to me, to tell them, well, that's fucking bullshit. Another part of this conversation included them saying, and you know what, it doesn't matter what you believe or what you do, them speaking to me, I'm always gonna have this relationship with you, we're always gonna be close. And in that same conversation, and Jesus, this God that I worship and think is great, that I bend the knee to more than once a week, broke up families, and sometimes that's necessary.
It is. And it's in the Holy Book.
Cognitive dissonance within 1 minute.
And it's baked in.
I'm not usually mad on the show.
No, it's okay. It's okay to be mad at that, man. In Matthew, Jesus says to
In many of the Matthews I know,
two
the
of the
digestive
disciples,
process takes place.
come and I will make you fishers of men, and they leave their families to go and follow Jesus.
That
right?
was
that
an example.
Right.
Yeah, one of those people is named James, which was brought up in the conversation because James is my given name.
Andrew. But anyway.
Well, there's another one where
No.
Okay, they may have been wrong. I don't know.
It's all good.
They do weekly Bible study, but you know it better than them, probably.
Probably not. I'm happy to be proven wrong.
If we're going statistically, you don't believe, therefore, it's probably that you know.
I do want to get to a theist caller. We've had a lot of circle jerking.
No. Can we hit
Who?
Karen real quick?
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to rush Karen.
Karen, Corona.
This sounds like a...
Hey!
Live with Eric and Jamie on Talk Heathen. How's it going?
Yeah.
It's going great.
So you're from Corona, is that California? Corona, California?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I've been to Corona Beach.
Yeah.
No, not Corona Del Mar. No.
Oh.
By Riverside.
Oh.
Riverside is a road
been to
in
UC
Austin.
Riverside.
So I think you're, okay.
Yeah. So what
did you want to talk about
today?
Jinx,
Well,
swig.
I sometimes think that I was born with my brain just different because I never bought this thing from day one. Surrounded by Catholics, devout Catholics everywhere. Italian Catholic from Buffalo, New York, originally.
Good for you.
And it started probably when I was 4 or 5 when I saw the unanimated version of Sleeping Beauty, and it terrified me. And my mom tried to explain to me that it's not real, it's a story to get your imagination going, all this stuff. And so and when I saw other animated fables or whatever, I kept that in mind, that it's not real, it's not real. Then they took me, they said, we want you to learn about the Bible. We were baptized and all that good stuff. And we learned about the Bible. They took me to the movie, The Bible, when I was 6 years old. And I afterwards said, I don't believe that's it. This is a bunch of bull.
Are we talking Charlton Heston?
Was Charlton Heston in the movie The Bible?
I think that was the Ten Commandments.
Was it an animated film or a...
No.
Or were the actors animated?
No, 65, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Eric's got his Google game on fleek.
Okay, well, if you ever get to see the movie, it covers, like the flood and all kinds of stuff. It was pretty, to me, unbelievable. And so then when I was 8 years old, my father's first cousin came from Italy, and he was a priest in the Vatican. He was a spiritual advisor, not at that time, it was past that time, spiritual advisor to Pope John. So he was a big muckety-muck. Mm-hmm. And a bunch of my Italian relatives all got together with him and decided to take away my atheism, and figuring if I had a talk with him, that would take care of it all. In fact,
little did they know
he was going to be my best advocate, because I don't think he's a believer himself. He explained to me he had to be Catholic. He had no choice. And because he asked me why I didn't, and I said, because I don't believe in them. Getting mad at adults for lying to me. Mm-hmm. I just don't believe in all these fables. And he goes, he had to be Catholic, but I didn't have to be. I should learn all the religions of the world, all the major ones, and he pointed me to some directions, and find the common threads and get rid of man's footprint all over it, because every single one has man's footprint. I've studied them all. I had to in my position. I go all over the world, and there's a lot there that man put in. Can you imagine a priest in the Vatican is telling me this? I was so happy. And
I don't know. Catholics seem like one of those religions where I don't know why. It seems like it would be easier to be like, some of the details of this, because it's so many layers upon layers. Like the catechism is so freaking thick, and then there's all the laws of the Vatican, where it's like, you have to believe definitely that the legal authority of the Pope, after there's no Pope, but while they're waiting for the next one, divinely passes specifically to this person, and God decided that at some point, and not us, we promise. But if we vote enough, it changes, because God, right? That's because God is voting.
What's funny
but
is...
I was so fortunate.
Be divine, vote.
Yeah. Well, my experience actually is close to you, except it was a rabbi that I was speaking to that told me that.
Oh, I have a story with a rabbi as well.
But it got even better than that. He really did save my butt, because he went, he took me in front of all the Catholic relatives. Were like, is she going to hell? Is she going to hell? Karen is not going to hell. Matter of fact, I gave her specific instructions, and nobody is to get in her way. She's going to be reading all the major holy texts, and she's going to learn all about the Bible. And she's going to learn, but she's going to also learn some Hindu texts, and she's going to learn some Shintoism and some Islam and really Book of Mormon. She's going to read. She's going to go to temples. She's going to go to different places. Can you believe this? She's going
oh yeah.
And you leave her alone.
Did you check out the Tao?
And they said she has a lot of spirituality, more than you guys. So leave her alone, and they did. How's that for lucky?
That's. Your cup overfloweth. There it is. Yeah, you know this better than I do. That's friggin' awesome. Please stay in touch, because I love being able to talk with people that have already done the research that I can then just ask them about as a shortcut. Hi, Eric.
Yeah. Oh, do I remember all that stuff?
No. But you know where to look, sources, presumably, and would know how the hell to figure out what's going. My
favorite one was Hinduism, though. They are so poetic.
Yeah.
Fable on top of fable. My God.
Oh, the Vedas?
It was like, oh, yeah, fantastic.
Plus, they don't pull back on the bloodshed at all. And then he murdered 1,000 babies.
The Tao was my favorite. I think I took a lot from that. And,
Great stories. Great stories.
Yeah. But anyway, we are going to move on to the next call. Thank you for calling in and sharing.
Really quick before you leave, Karen, I wasn't just joking. I really want to be in touch, because as much as I can get my hands on a catechism of the Catholic Church and try and tear it apart as far as what the, in air quotes here, godly legal procedures are, the godly legal procedures for the Mormon Church are almost entirely unknown to me and fascinating. So... prepare for your quiz. No, yeah. Keep up with us on Facebook. I promise not to quiz you.
My chopped liver? No. Right. Take care, Karen.
Hey, thank you guys for being out there speaking out for all of us. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Oh, our pleasure.
Bye.
Godless good fortune to you.
Is that a thing you're trying to start?
I thought of it today after the show started, and I'm going to say it at least once more.
You picked the last two. I'm picking this one.
Yeah.
Damon in Boston. You are live with Eric and Jamie. How's it going? Damon.
Yes. Hey, how are you?
Damon, this is all for you, Damon.
It's Damien. But
I know.
Okay.
I know. It's a translation. In the Greek, it means one thing, and in the.
Go ahead, Damon. Don't listen to him. He just keeps going.
Yeah,
it's
I've
true.
noticed. First of all, I just want to start off by saying I am a new subscriber as of about an hour ago.
Thank you.
Congrats. Thank you. How did you find us?
Interestingly enough, I'm not sure why, but you were suggested in my YouTube feed.
Is that why?
It's very. I find it disconcerting that a theist is getting suggested to watch atheist videos.
We're not taking out ads either.
I'm sorry that you feel that way. I feel the opposite.
No, I'm kidding. Clearly.
No.
Okay. So Damon, really quick, because I am trying to get to the bottom of this. We had a massive spike in subscriptions. It came up as suggested. Really?
Yes, it came up as a suggested video. It was the video where you had a conversation with somebody from New York about intelligent design.
Sounds about right. Maybe Victor. Yeah.
No, Victor didn't bring up intelligent design.
Really?
Was it Victor?
It was one of the
I stand corrected.
Call. So what did you want to talk about today, Damon? We've been circling around. What do you got?
So I appreciate your the way you go about trying to find answers and truth is very scientific, and I'm a scientific theist, if there is such a thing, and so I really appreciated that. However, I will say, I'm a little. I didn't appreciate you guys do a lot of eye rolling, and there's some condescension going on with stuff you don't agree with, and so I'm hoping we can avoid that because we don't agree.
I'm hoping to avoid that as well. I mean, there are things that I say during the show that are clearly to lighten the mood, not just for the conversation, because if we're having a disagreement about matters that people feel very closely about, for example, like, I don't know, religion and politics, why would we ever talk about those? Then I find that it's more helpful if you can say something that gets someone to chuckle, but also, like, there's an audience as well, and they can glare at me if I'm not funny.
And I mean, another piece is that there are a lot of arguments that might be new to you that are very old to us, and
fair enough.
A lot of it, yeah. But what did you want to talk about?
Okay, so I'm gonna try my hand at explaining why there is God.
Okay.
And why there could potentially be proof of God. And I want you to try and shoot it full of holes for me.
That is
Let me get my Tommy gun.
Wonderful way to, yeah, absolutely. Because if your scripture holds up, then it should have every reason to hold up if it's true, right?
Or be held up by a priest.
Absolutely.
At the beginning of the service.
Absolutely. So the last caller sounds like she spoke. That story about the guy in the Vatican. It sounds like he was a very wise man, and he's doing the right thing there.
And he became a wise man without cutting any babies in half.
Jamie, we can let the man talk.
All right. Sorry, too much.
Yeah.
Okay. So. Can we start with the baseline? I'm gonna tell you a little something about my life, and I'm gonna ask you some questions that you may find personal and you don't want to answer. If you don't want to answer it, I understand. But we're trying to create a baseline.
No problem. Damon, just so that we're on the same page before we get started, we are going to want to pick things up just because it's getting toward the end of the show and we want to have the full conversation.
We don't know what you're going to say, but oftentimes when people say, let me just tell you a quick thing about my life, they then try and read a 4-page synopsis about the time they went to the store.
Yeah, it's almost as bad
I short and quick to the point. So
there's only room for one of me on the show.
In my life, I have faced my own mortality on several occasions, as well as people who are in very, very close relationships with me, immediate family, mother, father, son, daughter, wife. Have also faced their own mortality. I mean, I'm not talking about, like, oh my God, I might die. I'm talking about, like, very close to dying. And because of that experience alone has brought me from being an atheist to being a theist. And my question to you is, have either of you faced your own mortality, or, for example, your wife or your mother or father? Have you ever faced that mortality?
Absolutely.
You have.
Yeah.
Mine are slightly different. So most frequently, I have directly addressed the idea that I could die, or more specifically, be murdered, right? It's the way that I, as a child and as an adult, right? Like, there's an innate human, like, oh my gosh, I'm surrounded by darkness. I do not know what is around me. This is alarming because I am a human and my ancestors that had this survived more an evolutionary fear of saber-toothed tigers jumping out of the dark and eating your face or whatever. So to conquer that, particularly as a child, I closed my eyes and I held absolutely still, and then I imagined that there was a murderer immediately above my bed with either an axe or a long knife that was going to kill me now. So over the course of my life, I've faced, at very least mentally, as directly as I could, death. That, and there are a couple of times where I've turned absolutely the wrong way on a one-way road, specifically on highways, which is pretty freaking fatal, but I made it. But other than that,
all right. But that,
other than almost getting hit by a semi-truck.
Yeah. See, but see that's not what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know it's not, and Eric is closer to the mark.
It's about actually getting hit.
So I've
not thinking about it, actually experiencing.
Yeah. Eric is going to be much closer to the mark than me.
Yeah, and it's not just my own experiences, which I would really rather not get into. But I would rather
I totally understand.
Talk about, there was a time that I wrote for a newspaper. I was an on-scene photojournalist for a while, and when I would get on scene, I've seen and experienced a whole lot of death and a lot of really gruesome stuff and a lot of stuff that immediately happens with families and with loved ones and how that works out. I've seen it in my own life. I've seen it. So when we're talking about death, it's not something that is new to me. And
So would you agree that when there are 3 people in a room and a body on the ground, because you've seemingly experienced this. So it is clear to you through your experience that there are 3 people, not 4. That body doesn't feel like a person.
No, it doesn't.
And if you've actually experienced this, you'll know what I'm talking about.
Now, let me ask you, Damon, because I feel like I see where you're going with this, and I want to ask you, can things be more or less true depending on how emotionally charged the situation is, right? So would that be a true fact with us talking about the hypothetical now versus us being in the room with a dead person together? Or can we still make the same true false statements about reality?
That's a good thought.
Yeah.
Well, I would say, certainly emotion, runs, very high in situations like that. So I could see where that could potentially cloud your judgment. Is that what you're alluding to?
Well, in part. Really what I want to get at is kind of your toolbox for how you make sense of the world and what you use to reason out what's true and false. And so your example shows me that there's a possibility that you might be ascribing certain characteristics to bodies and life. And I'm just trying to find different ways to kind of get a good feel for where you're at and talk to you. Try and talk to the core of that. But go ahead. So when you're talking about a body not being a person, are you alluding to the idea that the soul has left the body?
Well, something has. I'm not going to say the soul because I don't know. Like you were saying, there's no proof.
Well,
but that being said,
real quick,
if you're in the room when somebody passes, or that presence leaves, you feel it, and you can't say, well, no, you don't.
Yeah, you can.
If you haven't actually personally experienced it, then there's no way to say, well, that's not real. Because if you talk to emergency room doctors, if you talk to emergency room nurses, if you talk to any people that deal with...
Damon, real quick.
Yes,
Damon, but also if you talk to Eric, you get a different answer.
Yeah, so the funny thing is the newspaper went out because, it's past the year 2000 and newspapers are going out. And when it went out, one of the jobs that I got was at an emergency room as a registrar. So I've worked closely with emergency room nurses as well. And
Excellent.
What you see is that in all of those situations, you get a really dark sense of humor because you need to deal with it.
Yes, you do.
But to say that you feel it, if we're going to talk about things that you feel, there are lots of different ways people can feel about different things. I really don't care about how you feel.
Right.
I want to know about what's true.
I would.
Right.
That's a great point, and I actually would like to try and avoid feelings.
Me too.
Because you can't pin that down, so that's my bad for using that.
No,
word.
that's okay.
No.
Okay.
But it's not the word that we're concerned about. It's the usage of that I feel it, therefore it reflects reality as an attempted pathway to truth. Do you believe that ghosts? Real quick.
Sorry, go ahead.
Damon, let me see if I can find a throughway. Do you believe that ghosts float through Earth and contact us like there's spirits floating around?
Do I believe in ghosts? Is that what you're asking me?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, yes, I do.
Okay. Well, then I have to find a different example. Okay. So there are also auras and chakras and lots of other religious beliefs that people can tell you.
Absolutely.
No, I feel that it's true. So if you have person A and you have person B, and they can both use the same method and come to completely contradictory answers, is that method reliable as far as coming to a pathway for accurate conclusions about reality?
No.
Okay.
It is not.
The method of I feel this, I perceive this, therefore it's true, oftentimes results in contradictory conclusions. For example, the one that you have put forward because you and Eric have experienced it differently. You said at the beginning of this call that you are, I think your words were, I'm a scientific Christian.
Well, scientific theist. I believe in God. But
theist.
I'm a person that requires scientific evidence. I look very close. I'm by nature. I tend to disbelieve before I believe.
Okay, that's good. But real quick, just very, very quick question. Before you have what you would look at and deem as sufficient evidence to come to a conclusion, what conclusion, if any, do you hold about a question? So for example, unicorns are all pink or whatever. Don't look into the specifics, but it's like before you have evidence and can look into this question, before you have enough evidence, what is your state of belief as far as the pinkness of unicorns? Like,
I'm not sure I'm understanding your question.
Yeah, that's because I did that bit very friggin' terribly. It's a sort of like, basically I should just say, so you reserve belief until there's sufficient evidence. So if someone said to you, no, all unicorns are pink, or whatever hypothetically you want, before you knew anything else about unicorns or whatever, maybe because it's not like a significant thing to you, you might go like, oh, okay, that's an interesting fact about unicorns, and move on. But if someone said, oh no, do you know that? Are you, I forget the specific name for unicorn scientists or whatever. Do you know things about the ecology of, that's probably also the wrong word, of unicorns or whatever? Uniologist, you presumably would say, well, this is a conclusion that I hold based on this evidence, and that affects my level of confidence. So far, when we've discussed this, when we've discussed a thing leaving a body, I have done my best to point out that that is a feeling that is, one, not experienced universally between people, which is an unreliable way of determining facts about reality. But you have also not presented anything that is close to scientific evidence, and I can tell you the research into this is the research that uses research dollars and applies a scientific method of investigating it isn't happening now because it was done and we didn't find anything like a soul that could be measured. So it becomes a question of supernatural forces, and if you are a scientific theist, presumably the scientific that you're talking about doesn't include the science of being able to tell, what the color of the invisible pink unicorn.
Of the soul.
And really,
if it's a non-physical reality thing.
And one other place that you can look is the studies that they've done on people who've had traumatic brain injuries, people who've historically been lobotomized, things like that.
Or have had their corpus callosum severed, the split brain.
Yep. they can develop completely different personalities, and everything that you attribute to the core of a person, what they like, what they don't like, what they find funny, what they do when they're nervous, those are all things that have been shown to be inextricably linked to the brain. Yeah. And when you damage the brain, you lose it. And so I guess a good question is, when you subtract those things because you know that those are physical, what's left?
Interesting.
All
right.
But
whole number one.
So you have another, but you actually called in with a different question. Let me
throw this one more at you, and then we can move on to another caller. Okay.
Okay.
As long as you promise to keep in touch.
And will you call again, because you are fun to talk to?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. All
You're
right.
friendly.
Well, let me put it to you this way.
Sure.
So I've recently, not recently, but recent as in the last 20 years, I've come to the conclusion that atheism is afforded to those who can afford it.
Oh, yeah.
For example, if you are living in a third world country, a war-torn country, or a country where, death is around you on a daily basis, you don't find atheists. You just don't.
Not true.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm living
there may be one or two in 100, or but it is a very, very, very rare thing to find people who are up against it, as it were. Saying, I don't believe in God.
Yeah, there's a difference there. The difference
Yeah.
is how many people are non-believers versus how many people can actively speak out as non-believers. Right,
But-
so you have a significant, let's say 10% of the population being the nuns, and that's the conservative figure, 20% if you're building it up.
20% would be a conservative figure in American society of I don't identify with a religion.
Right,
which includes people that
even if you were to
read
take
their horoscopes seriously.
Yeah, even if you were to cut that in half and say 1 in 10 people is an atheist, right? I would challenge you to see that it's not so much that there aren't people that don't believe, it's that they don't have the opportunity to speak out in a lot of those countries. And regardless, we can argue about this all day long, that has nothing to do with facts. It's opinions and feelings about it, right? We can talk about how many people are that. I really don't care. Everybody can become Mormon tomorrow. That doesn't make Mormonism true, right? So I really wouldn't waste... I wouldn't waste time on that.
That's true, but you have to apply that thought process to, like, for example, people who believe in flat Earth, for example.
Why?
Clearly, I'm not a big supporter of the idea that the Earth is flat, and the reason why I'm not a supporter of that. The reason why I don't believe it is because we have scientifically proven data, and you can argue it all day long and say it's not real. But I tend to believe that, majority kind of rules and answers like this. No. You can't say, well, we have all this scientific evidence and we have all this proof that the Earth is round, but then turn around on the same token and say that the majority of the world is wrong because they believe in God.
Well,
those two things are unrelated.
That doesn't make sense.
So we can conclude that the Earth is round. In that conclusion is in no way related to the number of people that accept that the Earth is an oblate spheroid, that there's a globe, right? If the only people that believed that were the people that had studied it, and there were 9 trillion other people on the planet that refused to listen, the fact of reality would remain the same. And the reasons for concluding it are not like a democratic government. It's not a vote. So the analogy you're attempting to draw here doesn't match. So we're not saying, oh, you shouldn't say that there's a God, regardless of the fact that most people are theists, because the fact that most people on Earth nominally identify themselves as theist is irrelevant to the question of the existence of a God and irrelevant to how we should consider this proposition, the proposition that a God exists.
Yeah.
In Saudi Arabia, where it is illegal to be an atheist and illegal to possess a Bible and illegal for women to do hopscotch and to be gay and to, I don't know, I think left-handedness is legal there.
Okay.
There's an app called the Atheist app that was downloaded over 1 million times in that country. There are atheists there.
And
but also,
is there, or is it curiosity? Is it?
Well,
it's
undetermined.
People look.
It's a short point, but more to the point, because you started this with people that are up against death believe in God. There is one tribe in particular in the Amazon that is, I think, was largely uncontacted, more than 100 years ago, that doesn't have supernatural beliefs. They do not believe in God.
What's the name of the tribe?
I don't remember.
Okay.
But I can Google it while Eric finishes this up.
Yeah. So
you said you'd stay in touch. So
I am going to finish this up.
I'd like to read up on that. That's interesting.
I'll Google it while.
Yeah. And okay. So ultimately, while those are really cool things to look up, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because it still doesn't reflect on whether or not it's true. It's the ad populum argument, and we can take a look. So if we look at the heliocentric model versus the geocentric model of the universe, right? There was a time when everybody thought that the Earth was the center of the universe. And if you were to ask and say, why is the Earth the center of the universe? Why do you think that the sun revolves around the Earth? Well, look at it. You can see it happen. But we know now that that's false, right? That everybody knew that, and they were all wrong. And there's a good chance that, 1,000 years from now, they can look back at us and be like, man, those guys were so off base. Because the truth of a thing has nothing to do with how many people believe it. It's never a popularity contest. And looking at it that way will never get you to truth. And so if you are using that tool in any parts of your life, Damon, stop. You're not going to get anywhere to truth with that tool. So just throw it out, man.
Fair enough. Well done. Hole number 2. So I guess to kind of put a bow on this, I just I think that you have to, it's really important to kind of, with religion comes, or with believing a belief in a God, as it were. Requires faith, okay? And that's a very, very strong word.
Yeah, it has a lot of definitions.
And for somebody who does not believe in God, it isn't really a strong word. It's just, your eyes glaze over and you're like, okay, faith, all right, I got it.
Actually, you're talking to two people who will honestly talk to somebody and listen to them and reason and discuss with them.
Agreed. That's why I subscribed.
Damn straight, brother. Actually, Damon.
Tell your friends.
We are past time, and I want to give you a lot more time on another show.
I'm sorry.
Next week and in between now and or the week after next, because we can't take calls next week.
No. So we're going to let you go, but keep in touch in the meantime, and we hope to hear from you soon, because I know that everybody else will be too. Sound good?
Do you remember how to get in touch with us?
No, I just became a scriber an hour ago. So
okay. Well,
mail at talkheathen.com. It's right at the bottom of the screen. You can also get a hold of us on Facebook, Talk Heathen, reddit.com, r/talkheathen. You can find Jamie on Instagram at
Jamie the Heathen. You can find Eric on Instagram, Eric the Heathen, and you can contact me on Twitter at reason_evidence.
So if you say you can't get a hold of us, you are a liar.
All right. Well,
or you don't have internet access.
In closing, I'm glad that we avoided the eye rolling and condescension, and I'm glad that you chose not
you
to
would
use
say
your
that.
vagina.
No. It's my secret weapon.
God. Fine.
Yeah, don't use
Damon.
your vagina should be used for kindness.
My vagina is a force for good. That's what you're saying.
All right, you guys. Damon, you
All right,
take care
I'm
of
going to
yourself.
I'm going to keep listening to you guys. I appreciate the fact that you can, have a discourse and have a debate without, insulting and calling people stupid.
Well, no.
We call people stupid.
Just like you called up and said that your religion should be able to stand scrutiny, we agree. And that's what we're here for, man. So thank you. Take care.
Excellent. All right.
All right.
And as a theist, I'd appreciate it if you didn't say go without God.
I wasn't going to say that with you.
Jamie
to
Jamie
you.
has
I say
been
that to
testing out different sign-offs for a while.
Hey,
and,
I say them to people.
Yeah, I like mine, but that's okay.
Off camera as well. Yours is.
How about this? How about this? I'll tell you guys to go without God, and you can tell me to go with God. How's that sound?
I'm good with just saying goodbye.
Well, okay, real quick. Presumably you either believe in the creation story or evolution.
Holy shit.
So no. We don't have to get into it. So presumably you believe that we are cousins distantly. Because then I can just say, bye, cuz.
Peace out, brother.
Love it.
All right.
Good.
All right. You have a good day.
See you, brother.
See you,
care.
cuz.
You too.
So
Now it's bad because you called him brother and I said cuz, and brother is closer.
Aren't we
Way to
all?
one-up
Aren't
me
we
on
all,
family.
brother? I'm sorry.
There's a pen on the floor now.
We do have a couple things. The first is that...
Is that the time?
Yes, it is.
Why do you talk so long in circles?
I hate you sometimes. Phil,
There's sometimes you don't.
with the ACA, is going to be doing some really awesome work in the future. Not all of us are going to be going to the convention. So Phil
'Cause that's too
has
many. Phil Session,
Phil Session wants us to mention
everyone's favorite,
that Austin
session.
Atheists Helping the Homeless has a volunteer event on April 1st. If you're in the area,
And that's not a
come and
joke.
lend a hand. There's also going to be a ramp project on the 7th, and you can sign up at the ACA meetup or on Facebook. There's another thing that I wanted to bring up before we ran out of time, and that is the Limerick Challenge. There's the U-Host Challenge, and
There's
there are
the
a couple...
U-Host Challenge for AXP, and there's the Limerick Challenge for TH.
Is that a thing? I don't. We had people submitting limericks, and I just wanted to mention a couple that were really, really amazing. One is by Seth Scher. The Atheist Experience show and the nonprofits aren't slow. They talk heathen out loud and make us godless bitches proud to help the non-believers flow. Jason Kelly said, I'm a skeptic, but hey, can you blame me? When non-proof can never quite sway me? They say I talk heathen, devil's words I be breathing. And hey, I guess I'm like Eric and Jamie, which is amazing. Absolutely love it. And then there's one more. It started in Texas with a show, The Atheist Experience, don't you know? Where theists talk heathen, and the nonprofits dwell too. But if I want something bolder, try Godless Bitches 2.0.
I love limericks.
Right.
Because, no, I'm not going to do it.
No.
There's a limerick that's my favorite limerick. But
So for everybody else, we really, really hope to see you at the convention. It's going to be an absolute blast. For those of you who sent us there, we cannot thank you enough. This has been so much fun, and we're so excited. We can't wait to show you all the cool stuff that we got going. We announced quite a bit of it, but if you have people like Damon, who just called in today, who just discovered us. If you know
an
other
hour
people,
ago. Tell your friends.
Definitely,
'Cause actually,
like and subscribe.
We just looked at our subscriber numbers today. We've been busy. We hadn't looked at them in a while, and we're now
Over 9,000.
Over 9,000.
And that's amazing.
Which is amazing. And we've said several times that we have an announcement after we get over 10K subs.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
And we will
we're
make that announcement hopefully soon.
Yeah.
Is there anything else? I think we covered it.
I like social media and my own face, and by the time we get to the convention, I'll have a home, so all the baseline things that are really stressing me out right now won't be there. So Eric will have to be stuck with someone who's live streaming to all of our various social media more than he would like, but hopefully as much as you would. So keep a lookout on our social media even before the show that we do at the convention and afterwards, and we're gonna do some good things. He's gonna dance on a table.
Our live show is not going to be on Sunday. Our live show is going to be on Friday at noon. So keep an eye out,
Central.
set your schedule. Friday at noon. So
Central time.
Yeah, you're not going to see us on Sunday. But
you'll see us Friday noon Central.
Central, thank you.
Central. Texas, or U.S. Central, whatever. Fuck it.
Hey, next time we see you, we're gonna be in Oklahoma City at the American Atheist Convention. And until then, wait, can we get some love rings?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's way better, right? And thank you, live studio audience. We really, really enjoy it. We're really happy that you're here.
They had to sit through all of this, and we could watch them and make sure they didn't leave. Right. So go live studio audience.
And in the meantime, we don't
hate you. We just
think you're
disagree.
wrong.
Wait, what? Unless you don't believe, then we do agree.